We've all felt it, that pressure, the ticking clock, the demand to move faster, finish quicker, wrap it up before the deadline hits. In today's workplaces, speed is often mistaken for efficiency, and time saved is treated like a badge of honor. But here's the truth. Rushing is one of the most underestimated hazards on any job site. And the more we glorify getting things done quickly, the more we gamble with safety. This episode is about the illusion of control when you rush. Let's go back to a Monday morning in a commercial high-rise construction zone in Singapore. The weekend had brought relentless rain, setting back the concrete schedule and causing a ripple effect across the entire project timeline. Now, under pressure to catch up and avoid penalty clauses, tensions at the site were running high. The project manager, anxious about client relations and contractual deadlines, pushed the team to double up their effort and start the pour before the final site inspection could be completed. It wasn't protocol, but the pressure to meet the milestone overshadowed best practices. A junior foreman, hoping to show initiative and please upper management, gave the go-ahead without waiting for the green light from the site inspector. The rebar grid, meant to reinforce the slab, had only been partially tied due to earlier time constraints, and a scaffold tower used to support the formwork hadn't been fully secured after its repositioning the day before. But the pour began. As the concrete flowed and weight accumulated, the instability within the system became critical. Minutes in, the shifted rebar grid couldn't hold the distribution, and the compromised scaffold began to wobble. It collapsed violently, striking the adjacent form wall. One worker who had been inspecting the alignment nearby fell backward onto a lower level, fracturing his pelvis. Another was pinned between the collapsed scaffold and a vertical support beam, sustaining serious leg injuries. The site went silent in shock. Sirens followed. And within hours, what should have been a routine milestone in the project's timeline became a full incident investigation. The official report confirmed what many on-site had whispered for weeks. Timelines were being prioritized over safety controls. The culture of rushing had taken root, and the cost was no longer hypothetical. It was real, personal, and painful. The incident investigation revealed what everyone suspected. The schedule had become more important than the process, and that moment of rushing, a decision made under pressure, was the tipping point. This isn't isolated. According to international safety research, tasks completed under time pressure are up to 50% more likely to result in an incident. And yet, in industry after industry, we reward speed more than diligence. Take the story of Rosa, a line operator in a food packaging plant in Mexico. A belt jammed late in the shift. Instead of calling maintenance, she reached in with her gloved hand to dislodge the jam herself. Something she'd seen done before, even though it was against protocol. The line was behind. Orders needed to go out. She acted fast. Too fast. The machine didn't shut down completely. Her glove caught, pulling her hand into the rollers. She lost 3 fingers. What haunted her most afterward wasn't the pain. It was how many times she'd seen others do it. How normal it had become to shortcut the shutdown. How urgency made that moment feel like leadership, not recklessness. Speed, when disconnected from situational awareness, becomes a liability. Consider emergency response crews. Firefighters trained to move quickly, but not to rush. Every movement is deliberate. Every step has a checklist, because they understand that control doesn't come from speed. It comes from readiness, from planning, from discipline. In contrast, when rushing takes over a workplace culture, here's what happens. Pre-use inspections get skipped. Verbal confirmations get replaced with assumptions. Hazard assessments are seen as optional, not essential. Think of a landscaping crew in southern France. They were tasked with clearing brush near a road before the end of the workday. A small slope needed clearing, nothing unusual. One crew member rushed to finish, took a shortcut across the embankment, and slipped. His hedge trimmer caught on the slope, cutting deep into his leg. The safety officer later noted, the slope was flagged as a high-risk area. But in the rush to meet the schedule, that warning got buried. What makes rushing dangerous isn't just the increased chance of mistakes, it's how it feels. Rushing gives a false sense of momentum. It convinces us we're in control, that we're maximizing effort. But control isn't about momentum, it's about presence. Rushing robs us of that presence. It narrows our attention, it blurs our judgment, it quiets the internal voice that says, wait, did I check that valve, or should I grab the proper harness? In aviation, this is called task saturation. Pilots under pressure start missing details, not because they're careless, but because their brains are overloaded. The same applies on scaffolds, in kitchens, on factory floors. Let's talk about Thomas, a truck mechanic in Ontario. He was finishing up a brake replacement late on a Friday afternoon. The vehicle was due to go out the next morning. He realized he hadn't torqued the final set of lugs. Instead of pulling out the torque wrench again, he estimated, "Close enough," he told himself. The truck made it 14 kilometers before a wheel separated on the highway. No one was injured, but it caused a multi-vehicle collision and a major traffic closure. Thomas confessed immediately. He was honest, "I was just rushing to get it out. I knew better." That's the twist. Most people who rush do know better. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a breakdown in decision-making under time stress. So what can we do? We can build cultures where pacing is part of the plan, where deadlines don't override safety checks, where supervisors model patience instead of pressure. In Germany, one automotive plant instituted a red flag policy. Any worker can pause the line without penalty if they feel rushed or unsafe. In its first year, the number of reported near misses dropped by 35%. Elsewhere, at a US construction firm, crews now use what they call R.I.P moments, short for reflect, inspect, proceed. Before moving to a new task, especially near shift transitions, workers stop for 60 seconds to breathe, scan their environment, and confirm task readiness. These micro-pauses are now being studied for their effectiveness in reducing impulsive errors. The goal isn't to eliminate urgency, it's to reframe it. Rushing might make the task faster, but it often makes the outcome slower. A jammed machine, an injury, a shutdown, an investigation, a lawsuit. Suddenly that time you thought you saved, you're spending it all over again with interest. So here's your challenge. The next time you feel the urge to rush, don't just power through. Stop. Ask yourself, what's the cost of cutting this corner? Will saving 30 seconds risk someone's safety? Is the deadline worth a detour to the hospital? Let's start a conversation. Have you ever rushed and regretted it, or caught yourself just in time? Share your story. You might help someone else slow down. These are the most dangerous thoughts in safety. Don't just move fast. Move with purpose. Move with control. Stay calm. Stay present. Stay safe.